Hold on, because this story has people talking, and it goes way beyond everyday celebrity chatter. Behind the bright lights, red carpets, and polished social media posts, there's growing tension that Hollywood didn't expect to face. Something has surfaced that's making insiders nervous and fans uneasy. At the center of the conversation is Teyana Taylor, along with comments recently shared by blogger Tasha K, who has raised serious questions on her podcast. These claims are not confirmed, but they have sparked intense discussion about trust, privacy, and responsibility in the entertainment world. Rumors suggest private conversations, sensitive information, and long-hidden issues may be involved, which has led to panic behind the scenes. Phones are ringing, lawyers are getting involved, and publicists are working fast to control the narrative. Whether true or not, the situation has shaken public confidence. It's left many asking a tough question. How well do we really know the people we admire?
Or was it a relationship? Here's the thing. I know TT got upset with me when I said that she was too clingy. It was given too much too soon.
What Tasha K shared next caught many people off guard. According to her, the glossy image seen on red carpets and social media may not tell the full story. She said there has been a deeply guarded issue hidden behind fame for years, something rarely discussed outside private spaces. On her podcast, her voice sounded serious and measured, which immediately made listeners pay attention. It wasn't playful or dramatic. It felt heavy, like she understood the weight of what she was saying. Tasha explained that Hollywood often runs on silence, private deals, and unspoken rules. She claimed that some stories are quietly passed around among insiders but never reach the public. When she mentioned Teyana Taylor's name, the mood shifted. She alleged that this situation had been whispered about for a long time but carefully kept out of sight. According to her statements, the issue involved sensitive personal matters that could affect close relationships if true. She stressed that her claims were based on what she described as private records and confidential conversations, though none of this has been verified publicly. Tasha repeatedly used careful language, saying allegedly and according to sources, but the message was clear. She suggested the situation could have wider consequences than people realize. She then shifted focus to recent relationships, hinting that choices made during emotional moments may now raise difficult questions. When she brought up Aaron Pierre, the story took a sharper turn, leaving listeners stunned.
Nasty. I mean, hell, baby daddy ex-husband just got the police called on him by one of Ra Ali's alleged girls that she sent down there to have a threesome with him. And then the girlfriend that he was supposed to have threesome with didn't want to participate, and she only wanted it to be a twosome. And so allegedly he wanted to force her to do it anyway. So she had to call the police to tell the police she didn't want to participate.
When those statements went live, everything shifted. At that point, it was no longer framed as a personal issue. The conversation turned into something louder, messier, and far more alarming. Tasha described a person under emotional strain, acting without caution, and pulling others into moments they never agreed to be part of. She suggested that during this stretch, limits faded, judgment slipped, and situations formed that left people exposed to consequences they never anticipated. She then shared an allegation that stopped many listeners cold. According to her, Teyana's former husband, Iman Shumpert, may have been impacted early on, not just emotionally but physically. She never stated it outright, yet her careful pauses, tone shifts, and repeated use of allegedly carried heavy meaning. She hinted that fear, not just heartbreak, may have played a role in the marriage ending, along with concern about what could surface later. Tasha claimed the pattern did not end there. She alleged that connections with other well-known figures followed, including influential entertainers and actors whose names are usually shielded from controversy. Kanye West and Aaron Pierre were mentioned in that context. According to her, these were not brief or meaningless interactions. She warned that if the information she reviewed was accurate, the issue crossed into public risk. She explained that Hollywood has quiet systems to contain crises like this, including private agreements and reputation control. She suggested those processes may already be moving. The most troubling part, she said, was not the alleged condition, but the silence around it. She returned to Aaron Pierre, describing him as inexperienced, newly famous, and possibly unaware of the situation, noting behaviors afterward that raised concern.
And all I'm saying is that I felt like it was forced. I felt like she was way too clingy, too soon. You just got out of a nasty, very public divorce. And I feel like he was just rebounding.
Those statements hit with force because the story suddenly changed direction. What once looked like romance began to feel like a rebound. What seemed like chemistry now appeared closer to emotional survival. Tasha suggested the connection was never built to last. It lacked balance, trust, and grounding. Instead, she framed it as a temporary refuge, a way to avoid facing pain from divorce, public pressure, fear, and a reality that may have been closing in. What unsettled her most was not rumors floating online, but the sequence of events. The overlap of timing, secrecy, unstable emotions, and the number of people who may have been pulled into confusion without knowing the full picture raised serious concern. By the time she reached this point, the situation no longer felt like celebrity drama. It started to resemble something heavier. If even part of what she suggested was accurate, the future chapters would not focus on broken hearts, but on harm, accountability, and consequences that image control cannot erase. Her pause made listeners uneasy, as if the worst had not yet been revealed. She then explained that the true danger was never about feelings. She said it was physical risk. Lowering her voice, she warned that this involved exposure, uncertainty, and a quiet system that may have reached further than anyone expected. According to her claims, once a serious condition exists, every close relationship afterward carries potential impact. She spoke of silence, not speculation, describing how powerful circles handle sensitive health matters privately. She alleged reputations are protected first, while transparency often comes last. What troubled her most, she said, was the timeline. The condition she referenced may have existed before several high-profile relationships began, so some people may not have been informed. She described whispers behind closed doors, subtle distancing, and private warnings that never reached the public. She also spoke about fear and how it changes behavior. Sudden withdrawals, mood shifts, and unexplained breakups were described as signs that questions were being asked quietly. When those questions surfaced, connections ended without explanation. Returning to Aaron Pierre, she framed him as a turning point. She claimed he appeared more emotionally open and invested than others, expecting security but encountering secrecy instead. After the split, people around him allegedly noticed stress, withdrawal, and confusion. She ended with a chilling thought, that quiet alerts may have gone out privately, urging caution without public notice. At that moment, the story crossed from gossip into something far more serious.
He sounds a little bit more needy than what she's used to. That's why she slides another hoe into the bedroom, because she ain't got time to be there. You know, she be traveling. She got 2 kids she got to fend for, you know what I'm saying? And she be on everybody's project, including her own. And she ain't got time to be settling down and cuddling and sucking on a man's ear to make him feel comfortable. And every time I saw them together, he was always like, and I'm like, why is he acting like Becky in the relationship? That's what he learned from them damn Beckys. For real. So, sucking on his ear. Y'all ain't ever heard that before? People that got sucking fixations, it's like a soothing mechanism, because he can't suck his thumb in public, so she would suck on it. Come on now. Jasmine, you've seen that before, right? I just felt like he just needed a breast to suck on. He just required too much attention. And you know, Teyana's a busy girl. So to me, I feel like, you know, for her, it was rebound. I can't say that word right now because
Those statements shifted the story once again. The focus moved away from danger and leaned toward escape. According to Tasha, this connection was never rooted in real affection. She framed it as a way to survive emotionally by staying busy and avoiding quiet moments. In her view, silence invites reflection, and reflection invites questions that some people are not ready to face. She claimed Teyana kept herself constantly in motion, filling her calendar with nonstop work, frequent trips, and public events. The pace, she suggested, felt intentional, as if staying active was a shield against consequences catching up. Tasha said people close to the situation described Teyana as closed off during that period. She appeared guarded, distant, and uneasy about letting anyone fully in. When closeness began to form, it often ended just as quickly. According to her account, Relationships did not collapse because of heartbreak alone. Instead, they ended when something uncomfortable surfaced, whether it was a discovery, a suspicion, or a realization that could not be ignored. That, she claimed, explained the sudden endings. There were no slow goodbyes or honest talks, only silence and disappearance. She then spoke about what she called the containment stage. This, she alleged, was when powerful figures recognized the risk of public fallout. Image teams stepped in and attention was redirected. Stories were reshaped, timelines adjusted, and public focus shifted towards safer explanations. Instead of deeper concerns, people were given surface-level drama such as cheating rumors, personality clashes, or career stress. According to Tasha, this approach worked for years because it kept the most serious questions off the table. She also described the emotional weight this situation allegedly placed on everyone involved. Anxiety, sleepless nights, withdrawal from social spaces, and fear of private outcomes took a toll. Tasha claimed one individual reached a breaking point after months of denial and quietly sought answers away from public view. When those answers arrived, she said priorities changed, careers shifted, agreements were altered, and relationships quietly faded without explanation. At that stage, Tasha said the issue grew larger than one person. It became about control and protection. She claimed that if even part of the story reached mainstream attention, the impact could be massive. Studios, sponsors, and major brands would all face serious risk. That fear, she suggested, triggered swift action behind closed doors. Emergency meetings took place, strict silence was enforced, and legal teams prepared for scenarios that had not yet gone public. She also alleged that after the breakup with Aaron Pierre, efforts were made to protect reputations aggressively. According to her, public narratives shifted, interviews sounded more polished, and timelines appeared carefully edited. She claimed subtle attempts were made to question Aaron's stability rather than address the situation directly. Not through loud accusations but through quiet influence. Invitations slowed, opportunities cooled, and connections faded. Tasha described Hollywood as a system that values quiet solutions. When silence is threatened, power moves quickly. She said attention was redirected toward relationship drama, while deeper concerns stayed hidden. For a time, that strategy held. But once fragments began leaking online, control weakened. Fans noticed patterns, unexplained absences, canceled plans, and sudden retreats. She ended this part of the story by saying the most revealing signs were emotional, not medical. Looking back, she claimed Aaron's behavior showed confusion and a need for reassurance, as if sensing something was wrong without fully understanding why. That, she said, was the detail that made everything fall into place.
People think it was a PR relationship. I feel that it was. I feel like it was mutually beneficial. They both could have used the PR. This helped her to distract from what was going on with Eamon. Is that his name, Jasmine?
It's Iman.
Now that he's,
Iman.
Iman. Okay. Y'all know I'm bad with names. And so, it was.
Those statements hit like a final judgment because the story shifted for the last time. What once looked like romance now felt like damage. What seemed like connection started to look planned. Tasha explained that this situation may never have been about real affection. Instead, she suggested it focused on attention, controlling headlines, and pulling eyes away from something much more serious happening out of public view. She pointed out how the timing felt too neat. The split came after a divorce, right when rumors started, and just before anyone could ask deeper questions. To her, that pattern raised concern. She told listeners this is a familiar Hollywood move. When trouble appears, the response is not denial. It is distraction. A fresh storyline appears, a new relationship fills screens, and bright photos flood social feeds. While fans argue about love, the real issue fades quietly. According to her, that strategy can buy valuable time. Deals get adjusted, paperwork disappears, and people move forward without answers. What no one expected, she said, was her decision to speak. Tasha explained she came forward because the situation crossed a line. She claimed harm went beyond feelings. That, she said, made silence wrong. What troubled her most was not fame or bad choices. It was how protection works. Power shields itself. Influence hides facts. Those without status are left to deal with fallout alone. She told her audience that if even one person faced danger without knowing, then telling the story mattered, no matter how uncomfortable it became. She warned that fear leaves evidence. Legal records, medical files, digital trails all remain. Eventually, someone talks. She ended this section by saying she still held back names, proof, and links for now. In her view, the full picture would not just expose personal ties. It would reveal systems that value image over safety and quiet over honesty. At that point, one thing became clear. Hollywood was no longer facing gossip. It was facing a breakdown of trust. If even part of these claims were accurate, the problem reached far beyond one person. It suggested an industry willing to ignore risk as long as nobody spoke. She urged listeners to think carefully. How many people believed stories that were carefully shaped? How many careers rested on appearances that hid the truth? How many lives carried unseen risk while cameras kept flashing and contracts kept moving? This, she said, is what happens when fame outweighs integrity. The saddest part is not headlines. It is the people who may never know when trust was broken. And with more voices ready to speak, this story, she warned, is far from finished.